Hello, friends. This is the Clueless Filmmakers Podcast, the podcast from amateur filmmakers to amateur filmmakers. Here to remind everybody that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and we're going to learn together from each other's mistakes. I am your host today, Weston Cross, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Michael Comp, or Mickey Comp. Kind of going by a new name.
Yeah, you know, I've always called you Nikki, largely
Yeah.
because I think I'm one of the very few, but like it rolls off the tongue easier.
It's fun. I think it's because of Mickey Mouse, and I'm okay with that.
Yes, Mickey.
So let's go with I'm Mickey McKellen Comp.
Mickey McKellen Comp.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey McKellen Comp. That's nice.
Yes.
Ring to it.
Thank you.
Yes.
My parents did a good job.
They did. So good. Anywho, we are here today to further chronicle the adventures of a bunch of BYU kids who have come out to LA to do internships and experience the LA life. Of course, in particular, Mickey here has 2 internships going.
Yep.
And she is going to tell us a little bit about what she's doing out here and what her goals are for this summer.
Yeah. So right now I'm working at 2 places every other day. One is a development company for reality shows. They pitch reality shows, they come up with them, but they don't make them. They will sell them to networks. I think some of them they make. They kind of are across the board. I'm honestly still not totally sure everything that they do at this point. I've been there about a week and a half now.
Okay.
It'll be coming up on my second week. This Friday, I think. Yeah, second week. And then the other place I'm working at is a development company for independent films. And it used to be more of a financing company, but has gone into the more creative development side of things. And so basically working at 2 development companies, one for reality TV and one for independent films. They're both very different.
Oh, very different.
Super different worlds.
Reality TV and anything else at all.
Yes.
It's going to be a very contrasting experience.
Yeah, so not only reality TV and film are 2 different industries. They're very different. They have a different vibe from one another. But not only that, it's reality TV and mostly, I mean, they do some documentaries, but mostly fictional films. Mm-hmm. So it's just a very different ballpark, and I'm getting, 2 sides of the coin, getting to sort of shop around a bit, and I actually really like how different they are because I'm getting more of a variety, I'd say.
Cool.
Little bit about myself, maybe.
Go with do you have any goals when you decided to come out here? Did you have any specific goals?
Okay. Well, at this point, so I'm a senior at BYU. Mm-hmm. I've actually been a senior for a while.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Some people say super seniors. I like to say I'm a Super Saiyan senior.
Super Saiyan. You've really reached that level.
Yeah.
So at this point, even though I am a senior, I've only ever worked on student films. I mean, I've worked on smaller films outside of BYU, but they were still made by and run by students. And not that those aren't wonderful and fun, and I've learned so much from doing them, but I do want to eventually move on from that and work in the real world. And I thought interning would be a really great way to have a view of the real world, how it works. That's why I'm so excited that I'm working in 2 very different fields. That's why I'm so excited that I'm working in 2 very different fields, because I get a view of how both of those industries work. And so it's very cliche, but I want to be an actress and I want to be a director. Both of those things, either a combination or one or the other.
Whichever one you get successful with first.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Worst case scenario, waitressing isn't that bad.
No, it's not. It's actually pretty bad, but I better get used to it. So I wanted to see what was out there and also establish some connections before. I'm not saying that any of these people are gonna be my big break. But you never know, and at least then I can say from here on out, like, hey, who do I need to get into contact with?
Mm-hmm.
And I have people on my side, people that I know that work in the industry, so mostly I do want to act and direct eventually. This is very different from that, but hopefully this can point me in the right direction, establish connections,
Mm-hmm.
and then if and when the whole acting thing doesn't work out, I might be able to get a job.
That actually pays?
Yeah, that actually pays. And I'm not assuming that these internships will lead into a job, but I'll at least have the experience and the time and the connections to help me to a job down the road.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard from multiple people that having an internship on your resume is
crucial.
Crucial. There, that's the word that we needed.
Yeah.
Absolutely crucial. I've been told by Gary Groth. He says, and I really should find some actual UCLA students. I think an intern with some. I should ask them that they typically graduate with an average of 3 internships underneath their belt,
Yeah.
and very seldom less than 2.
Yeah. And BYU students need to get on that.
We do.
So at the reality show place I work at, I am the oldest intern there.
Mm-hmm.
And almost everyone else is a junior or has just become a junior. And I have been a senior for a while. And it feels... I am the age of some of the people that work at the company.
Yeah.
I'm not that old. I'm 22. It's also a company that a lot of young people are working at because
Mm-hmm.
it's reality TV. But I really... If I could go back in time and talk to myself, I'd say, go get internships. Because I have always done fall, winter, spring, and summer classes because I wanted to graduate faster.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to learn as much as I could. That's what I was thinking. And
Well,
I have...
on the ball, being
Mhm.
proactive.
And I have learned. It's not that I haven't, but I think it might have been more productive or maybe helped me more in the long run to, instead of, maybe even if it was just once or twice, instead of only taking classes all the time, if I had gone and done an internship, even a small, short one, then I would already have these connections. I would have more under my belt. If I had gone and done 1 or 2 internships every summer, I could have 3 or 4 already by now. And instead of desperately trying to find internships right before I graduate or after I graduate, I could already have them, and it would be an easier segue from school to work. But, it's too late for that.
I'm kind of seeing that a little bit myself. I'm 26, and there's like 12 interns or something at Atmosphere Entertainment, roughly somewhere along those lines. Most of them, or at least a big chunk of them, are like freshmen. They're like 19.
Yeah, 19-year-olds.
And 20. And there's like 2 people older than me. And both of them, I think maybe one of them's a senior and the other one is like just recently graduated from university, and he's 30. And I think our supervisor, you know what? Hang on, I pulled this up. Give me 1 second.
He's on Facebook.
I am Facebook friends with my supervisor.
Okay, I thought he was like just Facebooking during the
no.
podcast. I was like, okay.
I'm foolish, not quite that foolish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang it. It only has, like, my supervisor's birthday, like, in the year, but not, like, what year he was born. Honestly, I'm going to guess he's my age, maybe a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really young guy, and he's basically the kind of the first-level creative director of development at this company that produces several $1 million movies a year.
Yeah, Atmosphere is big.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I feel so unaccomplished next to this guy. So I wish I'd have been. I mean, I'd still be in school right now, regardless. But
what's nice
I wish I'd have come back and I'd have known about this stuff and started sooner.
But there isn't really a too late. That's one thing. I've only been interning for a couple weeks now, but no one is looking at, and I'm not old, but no one is looking at me or you or anyone that's maybe older than the average intern and saying like, well, you kind of missed out. You know, we're still interns. Like, some people don't break into the business until their 40s, or, you know, which 40 is not old, for the record, but
no.
But it's later in the game, and nothing stops you. Like, you can only ever move forward from where you are. So if you're getting in the game and it's later, it's not too late. Just keep doing internships. One thing that I'm doing, so I could have graduated this semester, and I thought I wanted to graduate as fast as I could, but then I realized that for most internships, you don't get paid, you get class credit, so you have to be a current student.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than taking the 1 or 2 classes I needed to graduate this past semester, I found out I can take them online, and I'm actually kind of spacing out the amount of time it takes for me to graduate. But by doing it online, I'm not stuck in Provo. I can still be out here. And that way, I'm actually free to get more internships. I'm not necessarily saying this is like, yeah, this is the way to go.
They're all roads lead to Rome.
Yeah, exactly. And but so for me, I didn't want to be confined to Provo, but I still needed the privileges, you know, the internship opportunities that being a student. So I'm taking online classes, and I might even add 1 or 2 to really expand the time that I can be an intern. So that's kind of something that I'm doing because I was a little bit late in the game. And so rather than graduating and limiting my opportunities, I'm adding like eternal families and taking that online and allowing myself that extra time to get the internships that I need. That might not be for everyone, but you know, if you didn't start getting internships until later in your senior year, that's totally fine. People will still be willing to hire you. No one will think that you're inadequate. They'll just be happy they have an intern. So, don't worry.
Excellent. Yeah. No, that's wonderful. That is very inspirational. I think that's the most inspirational thing anybody has said so far.
Well, I don't think they're gonna make like a sports movie about it, but
Coach Mickey.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I'll have a locker room
and just all these
speech.
Like scraggly, odd-shaped,
like hipstery interns.
Yeah, weird interns about to go onto the field and go up against real football players. But you're giving the real speech.
It doesn't matter that you're 27. You can still get an internship, and you can get an internship. Well, okay. That being said, it actually is very difficult to get an internship. It's not just something that people dish out, which is why I maybe wish that I had started earlier looking for them, because then maybe I could, instead of interning right now, maybe I could actually be doing temp work or being a floater, which is, you'll learn more about that from
when you're older.
When you're older, unless you're older than me, then, you know, when you're older in the film world, I guess. But, you know, maybe I could have been a little bit more than an intern right now.
Mm-hmm. And if nothing else, getting one internship and having it on your resume, I think will highly increase your ability to get a cooler, better internship later on down the road as well. Yeah.
But so the way that I got these internships is I knew I wanted to do an internship, but I had no clue. I was looking on like Indeed.com and Craigslist LA.
Oh no!
I know, it's lucky
That's bad enough for housing and
it's lucky I'm alive.
Lamps.
Don't turn down Craigslist though. Like most of my bosses found their way to work through Craigslist.
You're kidding.
I'm not.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
so be careful. Like if they're like, come over to my apartment, you know, don't do that. Be sensible.
If they offer you candy, just say no.
Just say yeah, because candy.
And then we never saw Mickey again.
The opinions in this podcast do not reflect BYU or...
We reiterate, clueless filmmakers.
Yes. I also am very, very sarcastic, and it might be better to not follow any advice that I give. They're like, well, she said to just take the free candy, so I will. And it's like, nah, I didn't mean that.
That's what they'll play this podcast back on the trial that's 10 years from now.
And they're like, you told them to do this.
Released from their basement prison a decade hence.
And they're like, well, Mickey told me to take the candy. And they're like, well, it's your fault, Mickey. You told her to. Like, I didn't mean it. But you still said it. I mean,
you specifically said.
You said take the candy.
Take the Craigslist candy.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, applying. Craigslist is a maybe. Anyway, but I was very fortunate. So weirdly enough, at BYU, we don't have the same type of internship setup that a lot of other film schools do. BYU has a really good internship program for like every other major besides film.
Oh, Kyle, I hope you're not listening to this.
No, but I was going to go. And there's kind of an unofficial thing going right now. Once you... Shut up.
No, this is so great. I'm so happy to have this.
No, but Kyle was a big help when I was like looking online, and I was like, maybe I should ask the person who's in charge of internships.
Oh, crap, that reminds me. I have to fill out 2 weeks worth of reports for him.
Oh, shoot, so do I.
Sorry,
I'm glad
Kyle.
you said that. I mean, I've been doing them every week. I've actually done all of them already. That's how forward-thinking of a student I am.
I know exactly what's going to happen in the next 9 weeks.
But after desperately, because everyone says like, oh, you need to go get an internship. But they don't explain how or what that means. They're like, well, you network and then you'll find someone, you'll get an internship. Apparently everyone I meet is Kermit the Frog.
I have the entire department of Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be like the best every class
is
like,
taught by Kermit the Frog?
Taught by Kermit the Frog.
So this shot is called a dolly, and as the dolly moves in... This is a horrible Kermit the Frog.
No. It's fantastic. This is I would take all of those classes. I would remain at BYU for the next decade, so you can take all the Kermit the Frog classes.
Now, in 2001: A Space Odyssey, we see that the question of human nature is battling with the elements, and man's use of machinery defies nature. I'm not really sure what I said. I was just like making up something.
It's okay. That's what they do. They just
true.
Make it up.
Anyone who's actually seen Space Odyssey is like, you clearly haven't seen the film, which I have. I think I've seen it like 8 times now.
Yeah. Oh man, they show it so many times.
Yeah,
in our classes,
like every class.
I still don't understand what the hell happens in the end.
He becomes a giant space baby.
Giant space. It's not even baby. It's a giant space fetus.
Which is like a pre-baby.
It is a pre-baby, but it's still like doesn't even look fully formed, and it's just.
We can have another podcast where we discuss
about the
Space Odyssey.
Space babies. Moving back to topic.
So I went to Kyle. I didn't know what to do, so I went to Kyle, and he explained, where to look and where to find internships and how to better find them. Now, a lot of other universities have programs in the university that are maybe like linked with a certain studio or with a certain place. Mm-hmm. But we're talking like USC and Chapman and NYU, the big film schools, and BYU doesn't have that per se, but it does have a pretty good internship program. And then he told me about sort of this unofficial BYU LA connections group, and I started going to that, and then they gave us a packet that was a big list of internships that we had connections with. Because what my original plan was to do was just to mail things to Universal and, Paramount and all the different studios and hope that they'd see it, but they have thousands and thousands of...
Oh, gosh, yes.
That's like when they're saying, oh, we're having an open casting call for Indiana Jones, and you're like, maybe I'll send in my headshot. Like, that's not going to happen for you. It's okay. It's not that bad, but
it's, yeah.
It's
you're not going to have a great chance just doing
No.
that.
Because there's a huge pile and you're just in the pile like everyone else. And it doesn't matter how awesome your resume is, it's not going to necessarily jump out. They might not even get to your resume before they've picked all their interns for that summer.
If I can, there's someone I met at our ward that she's working, I can't remember where, but a film industry job. And they opened up this position, and they didn't even like post it on some websites for a couple of days. But within the first day, this girl at this church, she was in charge of hiring people, going through all the resumes and stuff. Within the first day, she had over 100 applicants.
Yeah.
Well before people had even saw it on the most major websites, and she felt so bad because there was zero chance that she was even going to go through all of them. She said she was going to take like the top 80 out of the stack and go through them, because they literally don't have time to sort through all of them.
Yeah. And so I'm not saying that you can't get an internship at Universal or Paramount or any of those big studios, and it's but especially too, I wasn't as keen on interning there because I didn't want to like just be getting coffee and toilet paper for people and never make a connection, which isn't, an internship can go any way. There are totally people that have applied online to Universal and gotten a job through their internship. But there's a slimmer chance. But what was great about this packet that BYU gave us was these were internships where we had connections. We knew someone that worked there, or someone had previously worked there that we knew. And what we could do was we were given their email, and we could say, and we could look over all the different internships, the ones we were interested in, and then rather just sort of sending in your hopes and dreams with your resume, you could email that person and say, hi, I'm with BYU, and this was kind of specifically through Gary Groth, so I could say, like, Gary Groth has referred me to this internship, would you be willing to kind of refer me and forward my resume? And that allowed me to get my resume from the bottom of the pile or the middle of the pile to somewhere closer to the top of the pile.
Yep.
And I wasn't able to say, get me a job. Absolutely not. That would have been rude. That would have been inappropriate. I was able to say, hi, I know someone that you know. I went to the same school as you. Because a lot of these people were former BYU students. Would you be willing to put in a good word for me and send my resume to someone? Or they would forward me the email, and I sent out a bunch of applications, and I did eventually hear back from some of them and was able to get an interview, and not all of them worked out, but 2 of them did. I'm gonna burp.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. That's up to you if you want to keep that.
That's staying in. That was a good one. That's staying in the podcast.
Great. He gave me a soda right before this, so I'm gonna
do that every podcast. Give sodas to all our guests.
So that you really market these BYU students as like homely and put together and clean.
It's a podcast called the Clueless Filmmakers
That's true.
Podcast.
I just want to say that like I am dressed business casual right now.
She is.
I relatively have my life together. Please cast me in something.
Anywho, yes, biggest, huge plug. We've mentioned them a few times. All BYU students listening, you really should get in and be a part of the what is it called? The BYU LA Film Connection Group, created by Gary Groth and Jordan. Is it Jordan Peterson? I can't remember his last name.
I know that Scott Cook was also heavily involved.
Jordan Person, and Scott Cook is still at BYU. He's a part of it, heading it now. Peter Walton is here in LA.
Yep.
He's also heading it.
Now those people
as well
could change. So if I don't know if this is like way in the future, or maybe those people aren't involved, talk to Kyle, because Kyle Stapley, he will most likely still know who is involved with that group, or even if that group isn't even a thing, he'll at least know people but he'll at least know people in LA. You can go to Kyle and say, hi, are there students in LA that I can get in contact with? And then you can talk to them and say, hi, do you know anyone who's working anywhere? The best thing, I think the best thing that happened to me was being, like, it was this wonderful blessing of being handed a list of, like, these are places you can have a connection at. And they're all smaller than places like Paramount. You know, we all want to work at the big, cool places, but I actually really, so far, this is much more intimate, and I actually get to do things here. So that's really cool. I'm probably gaining more experience, or at least, and making more of a mark too. Like, I'm definitely more likely to be noticed at these internships than I might be at a place where they hire 100 internships every summer. Interns hire 100 interns. But yeah, that's basically how I did it. And one thing that I also did, as soon as I realized I wanted to have an internship, I applied. I applied pretty early. Not pretty early, about halfway through winter semester. So that way, because we had a meeting today at one of my internships, and with our intern coordinator, and she had said, like, all of you guys are here because you guys had sent your resume to me before I had even really started looking at people's resumes. We were just people that had gotten our stuff in early enough so that we stood out, and, you know, we were some of those first people that she looked at before she got tired of reading resumes. So that's another thing that I'd recommend is don't start applying for internships like the month before summer starts, or even, you know, when people announce, hey, we're accepting interns. Be forward and get them in early. And
if you can get a connection on the inside,
go for it.
Go for it. And yeah.
And that's very, very helpful. It's a hard balance, because the thing about LA is you need to be aggressive, but not so aggressive that it's off-putting or inappropriate.
I'm
still learning.
It's a fine balance.
I'm learning to balance that.
Professionally aggressive and awkwardly annoying.
Yeah. So that'll be for you to figure out and freak out about.
We can't quite teach you that.
No.
Well, this is wonderful so far. I think we'll start wrapping things up.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for all that there. Great, fantastic insights. I can't remember what it was that we were going to talk about, but it's okay. We can talk about it another time, because we got all summer.
Yeah, no problem. We just sort of talked about getting into internships, how I started, and
no worries.
Is there any other questions you have?
No, I think you even went in like really in depth in those things. It covers anything else that we might have. You know,
and I'm still in my first week, so there's so much time for me to screw up.
Oh yeah.
It's hard, I will say that. Like, interning is not a walk in the park, and don't just think that, like, because you're an intern it's gonna be easy. And you burped right there.
That wasn't a pretty one though. I couldn't put it in my
but only a week in, it's already a lot of work, and it's very confusing. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to be, like, really excited about it.
Everybody, all of our listeners are very eager to learn from your mistakes.
That's good. Yeah, I'll have next time I can come in and talk about all my mistakes, and, for example, like, really invest in good deodorant, because it doesn't matter how wonderfully business casual you are dressed if you have, like, maps in your armpits all the time.
You will get sweaty. If you're out here in LA
it's
in the
hot.
summer, it can get freaking hot, especially if you're gonna walk more than like a block. You're gonna show up
or
at
even
the office sweaty.
or, you know, especially some of these places you do have to dress nicer. And I realized the other day I was sweating even through I was wearing a shirt and a blazer, and I had sweat stains on my blazer.
No.
I sweat a lot though too. Like, I am really, really bad with the sweat, so I might even invest in some really strong stuff, because that's embarrassing, and it for me, I don't want it. You know, I I was running into the bathroom and like putting paper towels in my armpits, desperately trying to get the sweat stains out. So it kind of, will ruin your nice biz cash look.
I'm lucky, but I'm not. I mean, my pits don't sweat a great deal. I've never, unless I'm like hardcore working outside, I've never had a serious problem with like armpit sweat stains. But if I have anything remotely on my back sweats. That's
also
I got
pretty
some
bad.
Nasty back sweat. And I take a backpack with me to this one office that I walked to. I walked to Atmosphere Entertainment.
Yeah.
And I show up in there, and my back is just very damp.
Yep. I don't sweat anywhere else on my body. It's just my armpit. So I think like all the sweat from the rest of my body
just accumulates right
goes there. And I'm talking, usually it's pretty small, but I'm talking one time because I was typing, my arms were at my sides, and then I went into the bathroom and I saw that my sweat stains were like, I'm trying to just like, they're already, maybe this is graphic, but whatever. They were already down to like my bra strap, the top, and it was just really big, and it had started to encroach towards the front of my shirt. So even when my arms were down, you could see that it was there, and I was so embarrassed because clearly that had been there for a while, and I was finding ways of like, I just was putting my hands on my hips for the next hour so I could just air out my arms. So yeah, it's humid here. I think that's the main thing. If you're coming from Provo, it gets hot there, but it's so dry.
It's quite dry.
And here it's very humid, and it can still get very, very hot, and it's a different environment.
Which is an awful combination.
Yeah.
Hot and humid.
I just don't like it when it's hot at all. I'm not a warm weather person.
I have to admit, I kind of wish I'd have tried to instead of summer done a winter or fall semester.
That's also another great opportunity because fall, so that's something to talk about. Fall and winter, there are way less interns.
There are less competition.
There's like a fraction of the interns because everyone goes during the summer and they're for longer. So you can have a better chance of getting an internship for longer periods of time. You'll get more school credit. You'll be able to establish better connections where you work. So it seems like it's not, you don't want to take the fall semester off, and it might not be worth the class sacrifice, but really consider doing a fall or winter internship. If you're having trouble getting some, maybe apply for some during the fall or winter.
Cool beanses.
Yes, many beans.
Well, let's go ahead and officially close things down a little bit.
Okay.
As always, we like to end the Clueless Filmmakers podcast with the sharing of the awkward stories. Mickey, you've been spending some time thinking.
My talking hasn't been awkward enough.
Do you have a story you wish to share as your official
I have
story?
So many. There's just a lot. And some of them are too personal, like they involve other people. So I don't know if it's like okay for me to talk about it online.
Well,
it's not.
I certainly don't care. It's a matter of if they care.
It's not. It wouldn't be.
What's going to happen?
It would not be nice to these other people. Okay, here's one. So, excuse me. Okay, here's one. So, if you know me, you've probably heard me share this story. It's my go-to, like, what's your embarrassing moment? So, this was several years ago. I was 16, 17. This was at EFY. And
for non-Mormons, that is a
camp.
Weekend sleepaway camp.
Summer camp.
For high school kids,
yeah.
Basically.
So it's summer camp. And basically, I hadn't known about it. So this is my first time going to EFY, and it was the last day of EFY. Now, normally, it's at BYU. There's actually lots of them, but the one I was going to was at BYU, and normally people stay in the dorms, but they were renovating them or something, so we ended up staying at an apartment complex nearby called the Riviera, which is a horrible, horrible place. They've literally found meth and crack dens there multiple times.
That was soap.
It was not soap. I don't know anything about making meth or soap, but I know they are opposite procedures.
I wonder how that trial went. There was literally, just so people are aware,
Yeah.
there was a guy, they literally found a meth lab in a guy's apartment.
A
in
huge
the
one.
area, a big one. And seriously, his offense was that he was making soap and he accidentally created meth.
Yeah, not just soap, but organic soap. He's like, nah, I just make organic soap, guys. It's fine.
Out of cold medicine.
You
Not
know,
cold
out
medicine,
of
sinus
all
medicine.
these horrible chemicals that you would never put in an organic soap. It's Tylenol PM scented soap. Yeah.
Oh,
So that is the complex we were staying in. This was years before, but I am almost certain that there were current crack dens while we were staying there. But the way that it works is there's a central courtyard and all of the apartments face each other. And it was the last day, so everyone was saying goodbye. There were parents, and everyone was in this courtyard. And I was on a lower level, because some of the doors are kind of underground, and my friend was above me up on the ground, and I went to say hi to her, and I tried to leap up, onto rather than take the stairs, I just tried to leap up, and I felt this shredding sensation at the front of my pants. And I looked down, and the whole swimsuit area of my pants was just gone. There wasn't a piece of cloth that I could hold back up and cover myself. It was just it had just I don't know where it went. It's probably somewhere in Namibia. A piece of cloth showed up and they were like, whoa, where did that come from? But I had shredded my pants and everyone was there, but we were kind of on the edge. And I just immediately was like, don't draw attention to yourself. Just act normal. Then no one will look at you. If you act all weird and try to cover it, everyone will look at you. And so I should have acted normal and then found a way to politely hide myself, but I just took it as act normal and don't change anything. So I just stood there. And this was almost down to my knees. It was halfway down. It was just I just was basically not wearing pants at that point.
That's a phenomenal terror.
And
gosh, that's huge.
And I was 15 or 16, which is just such a fragile time in your life. Luckily, horribly embarrassing things were a constant in my life.
Explains a lot.
Yeah. So I tried to act normal and just stood there and did nothing to cover or hide myself. And then my friend had the opposite idea, and she went, "Oh my gosh, Michael, your pants!" Because my name's Michael. Really loudly. And everyone in the courtyard, which was packed with students, their parents, people were crying and saying goodbye because they thought they had found their best friend, and, of course, never talked to them after camp. But, everyone looked at me because she kept shouting, what happened here? Oh my gosh, I can see your underwear. And again, I just was if I act normal, no one will notice. And I should have covered myself or hid, but I just kept standing there. And so she pushed me into her apartment, which was the one that I had previously been in that was kind of underground. And she pushed me in there. And I had already packed. There were no pants I could go grab. It's kind of a long story. I'm sorry. And she said, "Here, put these on." And they had already moved all her stuff out. And she turned and she picked a pair of pants up off the floor, which were really tiny. And she said, "You can just wear these." And I said, "Well, whose pants are those?" And she said, "Well, they were here when we got here."
This is so random stranger who you've never met their pants.
And they were so small. And I was looking at them and I said, "I don't think I can fit in those." And she said, "Yes, you can. You're skinny." Because back then I was very skinny. but I was not these pants skinny. And then she just gave me the pants and left because she had other friends that she wanted to go talk to. And so I was putting on the pants and they got like just barely past my knees and then stopped. And I looked and they were children's pants, which just raises more suspicions about why they were in the apartment. Like, why was this pair of abandoned children's pants in this empty apartment? I shudder to think, you know. Yeah, the Riv.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I put them on, but my other pants were shredded, and when I had taken them off, she had taken them with her, because I'd already started to change. So I didn't even have my other pants.
Oh my God.
So I was just stuck in them, and I poked my head out, and I was like, hey, I was trying to get her attention. And she was already on the other side of the courtyard talking to people. She was the only person I knew here. And so I had to, everyone had already seen my underwear at this point. So I just walked out of the apartment because there was nothing else I could do. And I had to call and wave my arms across the courtyard and say, I need you to get me pants. As I just have these children's pants down to my knees. In front of everyone, and everyone, like, some of these parents are like, whoa, and these very uptight Mormon parents. Some of them were like, whatever, this happens.
I'm surprised there weren't women just, like, getting the vapors and passing out. Like,
it wasn't that bad. You know, I like, was not wearing, like, sexy underwear. I was a very awkward child.
But this is, like, Mormons in Provo.
Yeah, but a lot of them were from all over. I mean, some of them were a little bit like, what is this girl's problem? She is just in her underwear. And then some of them were like, this happens. You know, it's like, whatever. So she from the other side of the courtyard, as I'm calling to her, is like, why didn't you just put the pants on? Why are you in your underwear? So it's just getting worse as it goes. And at this point, I just did not care. And so I had her go get me pants, and I was able to put them on after probably close to like 300 people had a very interesting spectacle that day. And it all would have been saved if I had just gone like, oh, my pants are ripped. I better like go hide. But
and then not giving up your pants.
And then not giving up my pants. So I didn't realize she was just trying to be like a helpful friend, I guess. Because she was like, put these on, and I was like, okay, and I took them off, and she took them and threw them away. You know, she was like trying to be proactive. But of course, that just left me stranded. Pantsless with these like potentially AIDS-ridden like children's pants. So, sorry, that was a very long story.
No, it was highly entertaining.
So that's that. And that's actually one of my favorite things that's ever happened to me.
Oh, it's a great story.
At the time, it was very traumatic at the beginning, but by the end, I was just done. I was just so...
Zero F's to give.
Yeah, it really taught me to just sort of like deal with things as they happen. Because it was like, well, I am in my underwear and there's nothing I can do. Everyone has already seen. I just need to take care of the problem. Because had I not called to her across the courtyard, I'd probably still just, be hiding in the closet in this Riv apartment in children's pants today, as there's like meth labs, around me.
Around you.
Yeah.
And then you're a meth addict.
Mm-hmm.
It's like meth addict.
Yeah, so deal with your embarrassing trials or you'll become a meth addict.
Yes, and that's the whole point of sharing the awkward stories is to get over and deal with your awkward moments and your meth addiction.
Yeah.
Because,
For the record, I'm not remotely addicted to meth. The closest I've come is I tried this organic soap once.
Oh.
And,
Did you smoke the soap or...
no.
Or huff the smoke? I mean, soap.
I had a caffeinated soap once.
Caffeinated soap.
I don't know if it worked, but it was kind of cool. But honestly, like, it was such an extreme experience that I've really taken that lesson with me the rest of my life. And at my internships now, I've kind of used that experience because in those moments where I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm like mess something up, rather than like hiding, you know, because your instinct is you're like, oh, I don't want anyone to know that I didn't, you know, because if I could have so many missed opportunities if I was afraid to admit that I didn't know something, or, you know, was afraid of being embarrassed. But because I've had this thing happen to me where I just had to learn to deal with it, at my internships, half the time they say, hey, can you do this? And I'm just able to say, I have no idea how to do that. And I've just learned to kind of deal with my inadequacies in a very forward way. And it's actually, already at one of my internships, people are giving me more and more tasks to do, more and more different jobs. And even though they know I don't know how to do them, but because I'm willing to say I have no idea how to do this, or I did this wrong, and be forward about my embarrassing mistakes, I'm actually learning a lot because of it.
Because you're on it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that delightful awkward story.
No problem.
I will share a short one. Again,
Go for it.
One of these days we need to just have a whole episode because all of mine are pretty long as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I'll share a recent short one. Oh man, I hate to say how recent this was.
How? You have to say now. Was it like yesterday?
May or may not have been today.
Yes!
So I'm at one of my internships, and I won't say which one. And it is a building.
You got a 50-50 shot of guessing, guys.
And it is a building shared with multiple companies, and on our floor there is a single men's bathroom, and I think this is just so everyone's aware. In all purposes of all future awkward stories, there will certainly be some TMI moments. I'm a very TMI friendly person.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be slightly TMI.
Oh.
So sorry, but you're going to hear a poop story.
Whatever. No, poop is what unites humanity.
Because
everyone does it.
Everybody
Everyone.
poops.
Like the king, the peasant, fart jokes and poop jokes are always funny because everyone's had to deal with it.
Everybody has.
So go ahead.
So I have a fairly sensitive stomach. It is my greatest weakness. Anyway, I'm in there trying to do some work, and my stomach's like, "Hey, buddy, you can't wait till it's time to go home." Though, which is actually funny. That's actually a funny part about this. Now that I think about it, I'll come back to that point in time. My stomach's like, "Hey, buddy, you can't wait till you go home." So I go to the single stall, men's bathroom thing, and I poop.
Is that the only bathroom on your floor?
It is the only men's bathroom on our floor.
Wow.
Just the one. I'm surprised there's not more because there's quite a few offices and a lot of people. It's a pretty big floor. But whatever. I guess it works. I mean, I've gone there multiple times and I've had to wait or come back later because there was someone in there and I'm pooping. In fact, while I'm in there, someone tries to come in, but the door is locked and they left. And thankfully, I didn't have to do the extra awkward somebody's in here moment. He was kind enough to just leave.
Because he knows what it means when the door is locked.
And I pooped, and a combination of two things. One being that between my body and the toilet paper, there was a large amount of mass in the toilet. And the toilet, I believe, is a low water flush toilet.
Because California, and they're trying to conserve.
Because California, and they to conserve. And
you have to buy grocery bags, by the way, guys.
You have to buy grocery bags. It sucks.
Just so you know. You got to buy them, or they don't give them to you. Go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, 3 flushes later, or 4 flushes, yeah, the water is not going down. In fact, it's risen a little bit, and it is, there's, the bowl is, there's not a lot of stuff in there, but there's something in there clogged, and there's just not enough from those flushes to push it all the way down the pipes. So, I'm just, there's no plunger in this room. There's nothing to do. There's no like press button for like, let somebody know this needs service. And I'm just like freaking out because, people can walk by any time. So I can walk out and someone can walk right in.
They'll know.
And they'll know my poop stopped up the toilet. I'm the reason why they're peeing.
No one will hire you after
No one will
they
hire me because they know I'm the guy who poops and blocks up the toilets. And so I seriously panic, and I wait a couple minutes, to see if the water goes down. It doesn't, so I'm just like, crap, haha, pun. And I just like open the door, and I literally run down the hall as quietly as possible, to get as far away from the scene of the crime as humanly possible.
Don't you think that's more suspicious?
I wasn't thinking that clearly, okay? Like, this is a very stressful situation for me.
It is.
And the wonderful cherry on top is I get away, nobody sees me because all the doors are closed, there's no one in the hall. I get to the office, and literally when I walk in, I'm told, hey, go home now. You're good.
You're good.
You're good. Like, we were told specifically to go home early right now.
So you could have pooped at home.
So I could have waited. I could have gone home, and I could have pooped in the comfort of my apartment that has a very serious toilet. It's got,
an
like,
industrial
jet-powered flushing. No clogs in this apartment. So yeah, that was...
Or you at least
fantastic.
could have, like, just run home straight from the bathroom.
Or that.
More
and
of a
make it
secret.
Even far further away from the scene of the
more
crime.
elusive.
Yes. So anyway, that's my delightful awkward story this week. I realize I'm going to be telling so many stories from hosting all of these.
That's good though. Gotta share
them all out. So anyway, thank you so much, Mickey.
No problem.
And thank you to all of our listeners. I hope there are listeners. This would be awkward if nobody listened to this.
All 4 of our listeners.
All 4. Thank you. We love you a great deal. This has been the Clueless Filmmakers Podcast, the podcast by amateurs for amateurs, learning from our mistakes. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic day.
Good luck.